Welcome back to our channel. I'm Stefanie Lugo.
And I'm Bryce.
And we are the Lugos, realtors at My Home Group Real Estate here in Scottsdale, Arizona. This is our channel where we share videos every week on the housing market in Metro Phoenix and beyond. We believe in real estate that does more. And if you're into that kind of thing, be sure to hit subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit that bell notification icon to be notified every time we're dropping new videos just like this. So Bryce, we've been talking a lot about how crazy the market is in 2021, and I think that it would be a really great time to share kind of how buyers can prepare for a successful home purchase this year.
Okay.
So I guess when we get new inquiries, when people are reaching out and they're saying like, oh, I'm considering a purchase, there's usually a couple of things that come to mind, and I actually just did a question on my Instagram stories at Bryce and Stefanie. Be sure to follow us if you don't already, but I posed a question of like, what's on your mind about buying and selling in 2021? And I got this version pretty often. And she said, I'm just nervous to buy. I can't handle the sticker shock, meaning like the prices seem really high to her, or the speed of the market, meaning houses are selling really fast. So I figured it would be a good time to do a video, just some of the steps that buyers should be taking to prepare for a really successful home purchase. So the first thing I had was getting pre-qualified and meeting with an agent.
Yeah, in either order, although I'd prefer that they came to us first because we have great partners in the lending side that we would love to be able to refer our potential buyers to, people we know who do the job and work well with us.
Yeah.
But those are the two big steps, I would say, is along with identifying that you do want to buy a house.
Yeah. Making sure it's like the right move, the right time, but like so many of those questions are answered by the lender, by the agent. I know I have my answer, but how early do you want to meet with a buyer, like in an ideal world?
Ideally, 6 months, because one, that time frame could move up, it likely does, but two, that way we can get everything ready, make sure that if there were any hidden credit issues that they're taken care of. We see that every now and then, so 6 months gives us time to prepare for them and then for them to get any loose ends taken care of so that they are ready, and that way it's not so fast as soon as we are out there looking.
No, I agree. Let's talk about that timeline just really quickly because we haven't. 6 months for me, if I'm breaking it down, like let's say it's January, we start talking, they have a lease up in June, so they want to be something in June. That's a 6 month timeline. What does that 6 months break down into? Well,
I mean, if June is the day that they want to move in to their new house, then we should be looking for homes maybe in March. Right? We could look a little bit sooner because maybe they can stretch it and make it work if the perfect home came out.
Yeah.
But we want to get them immediately. We want to give them a lender contact if they are not already working with a lender so that the lender can identify how much they can qualify for, and make sure that their credit and their finances are all in place. Then we can start looking about 3 months prior to when they want to be in a home. Although in this market, maybe a little bit sooner again. And then as far as timeline for the transaction, say we found a house, that's going to take about 45 days for the transaction, maybe sooner because sellers are wanting to move right now.
Yeah, but with everything, like the appraisers take extra time,
underwrite, like the
mortgage companies are super backed up with all not only home purchases but refinances as well.
Yep.
And so you have to give everybody time to do their job. So like 30-45 days is fair.
And for me, if your lease is up in June, I'd prefer that you actually got into the home a couple weeks prior to whatever that lease date was. So is it, mid-May, or depends on when your lease ends in June, beginning of the month, end of the month. We do like to give our clients some room, some padded room of being able to move in and do it.
Not like doing it all in one weekend.
Yeah, we've seen that. We've had clients with movers, just sitting, waiting.
And the cool thing too is what most people don't realize is your mortgage kind of skips a month in that way. It's like, say you close, you get possession of the home, everything's done, you get the keys. Typically, you won't be paying your first mortgage payment until July. In that case, you skip a month because
if you closed in May.
Right.
Yeah, because you're gonna, it gets complicated. But yes, you have prepaid interest that happens in May for the remaining days left in the month, and then your first mortgage payment would be the following month. So if it's May, not June, but July.
Yeah.
So a lot of clients, they love hearing that because the perception is you're kind of skipping a month in payment, but there are prepaids that go into your closing costs for the interest for the month that you do close. But I do like to close a little bit earlier than the expected time.
Just makes it less stressful on everybody.
It does, yeah, especially with moving.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're meeting with the agent, you're meeting with the lender, at that point you're putting the plan in place, right? So for us, that looks like a couple of different things.
Yeah, we like to, if it's a lender that maybe our buyer has met or been referred to by their mom or dad or cousin or whoever, we like to communicate with that lender right away.
Yeah, because not a lot of people understand, this is why this is important, not a lot of people understand how often the agent communicates with the lender. Like, that is a very close relationship for 30 to 45 days. Yeah. And that relationship, the health and like the ease of that relationship really, really matters. Like, obviously everybody has the same goal, but you want to make sure that everybody kind of has similar response times, similar
it's
availability.
Nice to contact that lender right away and let them know, like, hey, we're here for the client, we're here for the lender, whatever they need in relationship to the purchase that's going to be taking place. And we're flexible, and what do you need from us? Here's our contact info, here's how you this is how you can reach us, and how can we reach you whenever we need you, because like on the weekends, we really need those lenders, those partners to be available if we need a pre-qualification letter. So we try to get ahead of it right away with our buyers and their lenders.
For sure. So making sure that we're like smoothing the way on the financing side. And then the other thing that we're doing is like, we love, very first off, like if you're coming to us and you're thinking, hey, I might want to buy a house this year, we're saying, let's book a Zoom call. Let's get on the phone. Let's have a face-to-face and put the timeline in place, which, by the way, if you are thinking about buying anytime in the next 12 to 18 months even, you should book a call with us. Totally free below. The link is in the caption. We'll just hop on Zoom, have a quick chit chat about it, and make sure that we all have our ducks in the row so that you can have your best foot forward with your potential home purchase. And during those Zoom calls, it's all about like the buyer at that point. It's all
just
about
getting
the client,
to know who they are. It's a way for us to have a face-to-face introduction right now, and just getting to know who they are, and then they get to know who we are, and
answering questions, educating them on the whole process, making sure that, because for us, like, our job is a lot easier when our clients have full confidence and clarity in the route going forward, and that's when we are able to provide the best service and give the best experience. And that's what it's about.
There's a lot of moving parts related to a transaction. So if we can start off on a good foot and let people know what they're about to expect and what goes into the transaction, it can be really helpful.
Totally.
Just right off the get-go. And something, it's preferred that we're working with not even preferred that we're working with someone, but the giving time 6 months in advance or 8, 9, 10 is great. But like, some people realize they want to buy a house right now.
Yeah.
We worked with a client I think it was November, a couple months ago, and she didn't know that she could even buy a house. She walked in and spoke to her lender at a bank, and they're like, hey, have you thought about buying? And she's like, no. And then she decided right then and there she wanted to buy a house. We met with her. 2 weeks later, she was under contract. So like, we don't have to have a 6 month notice. We're ready to go, and we will help. We're going to help educate people right away.
It's a benefit of having seasoned agents, I think.
And 2 of them, because it's helpful. You get all the information right away.
No, really, really good point. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's an important distinction to make. So number one, we're getting pre-qualified, and then we're meeting with an agent, and then you're putting that plan in place. And then I think like the third one, especially if you are looking at the rising home prices with the market, you're looking at all these changing things, this is kind of doubling down, but I think that just really understanding the financing and monitoring the market is going to help reduce the sticker shock and calm the nerves of home searching, right? So in my mind, this means like understanding how much you can afford, maybe having a couple of different options of home types that you can choose, maybe a few different price ranges, like this is what I can afford if the house is perfectly done and renovated, or this is what I can afford if the house needs some updates, things like that,
And one thing, until you speak to a lender, You know, unless you've run some calculations yourself, which some buyers will do. But
and a lot of times they're not even totally crystal clear.
Right, because there's so much to it, you
Yeah.
know, taxes, insurance, and stuff like that the lender's gonna, is there PMI, you know, property mortgage insurance, you know, it is the lender that's gonna help identify what they're gonna be able to afford as well.
Yeah. And
'Cause
then
I know that we have those conversations a lot with our buyers, especially if they've come to us first. It's like, okay, what's the budget? Or like, what are you looking for? What price point? And they might have a number, but then it does change after they've spoken to the lender, and you know, it's important to have that conversation early on.
what I have found interesting is the number changes to their benefit. So like there have been so many times where we're working with a buyer in the last year or so, and they think like, yeah, I mean, I think that we can afford around like, you know, 300.
Yeah.
And they check with the lender, and because the interest rates are so low, which has a way more direct impact on their like month-to-month affordability on their monthly payments, they can afford more house, which opens up so many more options to them, because like the difference between being able to buy at one price point and another sometimes can be kind of drastic in like what, you know, areas they can even be looking in, which
Areas,
is where we come in.
size of home, you know, garage, carport, pool, no pool.
Yeah.
You know, so all that little extra amount will help them out if it fits their monthly payment.
Totally. I love it. So you're going to get pre-qualified. You're going to meet with an agent, right?
Yep.
We're going to put the plan in place, and then we're going to have a really crystal clear understanding on what you can afford and what options are. So that way you can get a little creative, be open-minded, be ready to go.
Yeah, and after we've met with them, you know, as they are in that preparation stage, we'll have set them up on a portal.
Yeah.
So that they can kind of gauge the market. You get to see what's happening, especially in the areas that you want to be in. You know, maybe you actually see a home that you want and you are moving sooner, but maybe you're just watching the values to make sure that things are staying where you're wanting to be. And so we set those portals up right away. That's part of that early stage, and I think that's important.
So what do you think? If you are looking to buy anytime in the next year, we should definitely talk.
Yeah.
Hop on a Zoom call, put that plan in place, get you the confidence and clarity that you need to have a really successful home purchase. I really hope that this helped you understand the process and what to expect when you get started with your home purchase. And if there's any way that we can help along with that, be sure to let us know. We are never too busy for you to reach out for any questions, or even if you just want to pick our brain about the market. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hey, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit subscribe to this channel so that you are notified every time we're dropping new videos just like this. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, we'll talk soon.